Okay, so I leave the radiator overnight and hopefully it's a nice dry floor tomorrow. So I was just doing, I got one of these out last night there. And what happens with them is they get super bra tearing, right? They get really, really dry and all the threads fill up with that stuff. So it is, I left it soaking last night because I got one out. I tipped it up at its end and filled it full of diesel. So I just gave it a tap and it's starting to go. But it's fairly, these were never touched. I mean, there wasn't so much as a screwdriver mark, so they were never removed. And you can see the dry stuff coming out from there. It's that's the stuff now that gets the grip on them. So you get that kind of it's like an aluminium alloy kind of, and it gets crumbly. So if it wasn't for that impact driver, we were not going to be getting anywhere with this now. Not a notion. Seriously dry. So a little bit of work needed on this because it's just a little bit damaged. Doesn't actually really want to come out much more than that. Let's see, for whatever reason there could be a lot of crap on it. There we go. So the stuff did actually soak down a little bit, but it's safe to say that was really happy where it was. So, and we didn't make an utter shite of that either, so that's good. This isn't too worn at all. It's actually one of the best ones I've ever seen. Just rubbing a rock there, you see a little bit of bubble there, just to the diesel it's in it. It's really good, so I'm going to keep that for my own one. My own one's fairly good on my own 20 diesel here, but it ain't as good as that. Now actually getting this off could be a bit of fun as well actually. Oh no, not too bad. I'd say it was never off. As I said, the slots on those screws were 110% perfect before I got at them. Okay, and it has this little, majority of them are broken off. So they are. That little tit sticking out there, they're usually broke off. So that's nice to see that. Yeah, tá ball bha here initially bheith fiarnach. So I'd say that feels like kind of sandy stuff, so that's in there a while. But it's in really good nick. Yeah, I'd be very happy with that. Really nice part. Very hard to get now these days. They're hard when they're not worn. This is meant to come out by hand. I dare say it's gonna. I'm very happy that it has that on it. I've yet to see one of them still on it. And only a couple of months ago there was another 20 diesel pump in that very same vice there, and it didn't have it either. So the next thing we can do, since that doesn't want to move, and I don't want to go putting a screw, I don't want to go damaging that with the pliers. The next thing I can do is I can take off the governor housing. So I'll just take a look at these and see were these ever taken off. Yeah, these were taken off at one point, so definitely probably got a new new diaphragm at some point, and as you would expect. Okay, that's that one moving. That's that one moving. That one moving. Now, considering I'm using a lump hammer on this, could you imagine the amount of pressure you need with a screwdriver? And that's that one. Okay, so tá gain, as they say here. Wow, we're winning. It's only when you actually put a screwdriver on you realise how tight they still are. Now these screws. They're very specific to this. So I don't think you're going to go finding a manual unless you're lucky enough to have another pump. Or maybe you could find out what thread they are, of course. Put a bolt in, but they're kind of countersunk screws. So it wouldn't look right anyway, but it will get you out of a hole. By Jesus, yeah, they're tight enough. So in these pumps, and this material is left sitting, it really does. It starts caking up something bloody fierce, I can tell you. And you get that dry, powdery. It's not too bad. It's fairly black. They're a lovely black screw. But you get that dry kind of powdery stuff on them there, building up, and by God does it get a grip on them, and it makes the diesel and the WD-40 and all of that very hard to penetrate it. So, wow, this lad's still fairly tight. It's mad to think how tight that would have been. We wouldn't have got it off with a screwdriver. Like, even putting you can put a spanner on the end. You wouldn't get near it. You'd have made shit of it. At least with the impact, it only turns when it gets a belt of a hammer, and that, I suppose, kind of keeps it lined up with the slot. There's our little dampener there. So that's still working there. It's got a nice spring in it. But he's seized. So that could be a bit fun getting that out of there. But we'll get him. He is fairly bloody tight, yeah. We matter soaking him, but we can do that. We can soak him in there with a Dremel, maybe. Actually, I should have taken this off while I had it in the vise. But I can hold that with a spanner and get that one undone. Okay, let's get a pick and see what we can get this diaphragm to move. Okay, there's a little slot at the top there. You can put your pick in. I don't want to go doing too much damage, picking all at the one area. But it actually looks in good nick, this, believe it or not. I'd be very surprised if this is cracked at all. That's if we can get it out. Oh, there's my good pick broken. A sec anyway. Yeah, not for that kind of, not ideal now for going too hard with them like I did there, but that was stupid of me. But it's true, making mistakes that we learn. But I think the rack is fairly stuck. Because I'm tapping on the pull to stop lever, that should come back further and I should push this out. So, but that's all right. We'll work on that. Feck me anyway for breaking the pick in there. Anyway, lesson learned: leave everything soaking. Let that do the work. Don't be going in heavy-handed. So I'm going to bring it over to the parts washer again, and I'm just going to paint with the brush all around there. And we're going to do the same. I might just try and tap him through though. He should tap through the other side easy enough. So we can get something else in there. Stupid of me not to do that, but sure, look. Try and tap him through. It might actually help us to get him out. So it is kind of moving a bit. Yeah, that's giving us a bit anyway. And we can shape that up on the bench grinder. I have another broken one there, and I'll be able to shape that up and get it to go in there. Oh, a second now, this is a bit stronger. Yeah. There we go. Now let's get a look, see if we can make shit of that. We'll probably have to make shit of it to take it out anyway, to be honest with you. Okay. Now let's have a quick look in behind there and see what's holding it on. Should be a split pin. And of course some people go crazy with these split pins, bending them and bending them and bending them. You don't really need to go crazy on them. Let's give us a bit more room in there. So you see the split pin is just a little bit, yeah, it's well bent. I just leave them kind of fairly straight, you know, they're not going to go coming out too handy. Like an oar clip is the best because you get in with your hooked pick and hook it and pull it up and out she comes. Okay. Some people actually get a spanner in and let it go from the other side to loosen the nut, but yeah, we'd probably get him out with a snouty pliers. It's a really small split pin as well. There we go. And there's a washer. Lovely. And then this should slide. Okay. A little bit of damage done to that there, alright. Apart from that, it's A1. So it is. You could actually repair that if you really wanted, but let me just see. Stage of the game, considering how long it's in there, I don't think you're going to go getting away with so someone was definitely at the pump. That's loose there. I was loosened at some point. The back of the rack definitely probably could benefit with from a bit of oiling and all of that. Okay, let's press our maximum fuel there and just see if that'll go forward, or is it stuck? Yeah, we're fairly well stuck, boys, but it's okay. We can get around to all of that. So look, that's where I'm going to leave it for tonight. Getting there slowly. I'll go back over to the parts washer and start soaking from this side. So that's where we'll leave it. So I'm going to catch you at the next one. Okay, Magalore. So these were soaking overnight in the diesel, and I have the, what's it called, the governor housing, the diaphragm housing there in the vice, and 13/16 spanner on it. So I have plenty of cushion in there because I don't want to damage the face here. We'll give it a tidy up anyway. So I'm going to try and, these are usually a really tight fit on a 13/16. So let's see if we can get it. So underneath is actually turning as well, so that's okay. What I'm going to do now is take this out because I think it's going to be safer to go doing this in the vice. Less chance of damaging metal than you have aluminium. So just didn't want to damage that face or in there, and we didn't. We've loads of thickness. We've this rolled up twice and another cloth underneath it, so just want to take them precautions. So I'm going to try and take the the nut off that now, off that old vacuum pipe going to the throttle butterfly or venturi. So this could be fairly tight. I did keep it fairly well. Oh Christ above! Wow. Okay, so we need to start getting more diesel down there. Looks like it's completely sealed. I think that's half the issue. Yeah, that's savage tight. So what we might do is hold it there and actually get some, at least that way we can get into there now and get that full, and we'll put a socket on that. I think that should be in around 11/16 or 3/4, or it's a strange BSP. That's what I find as well with some of them. Some of the fittings are just a little bit different than, we'll say, your Imperial. So tap on an 18mm. Excuse me. Put on the breaker bar. So yeah, this probably should have just given that a. Probably should have that. There we go. We're going. Lesson learned. Clean it down a bit better so that your diesel can get down into it. But anyway, we haven't broke anything, and at least we put the strong part in the vice and not the aluminium. I wouldn't like to put that sort of pressure on the governor housing itself. So that's the bit then that has a hole through it. You probably just see it there. That meters the air going in. And then this takes the pipe. So we'll grab that in the vise. We can tidy all this up, of course, with a file if we have to. I'll give it a little tap. Okay, so just tap that out. The phone just was ringing there, so cut off the video. So I tapped that out. I keep these for emergencies because you can always, if you break a pipe, you can actually go and put a rubber pipe on over that, and it will get you, you know, out of a hole, like. So that will, you can repair it. It would get you home, as the man says, anyway. And we have this then as well. So we'll keep them together. No damage done, thanks be to God. To them, or to the governor diaphragm housing. This is still fairly seized. It is meant to move in and out nice and easy. And the problem is you can tap this, but it doesn't really, because it's on a spring, I don't think it really, if I'm not mistaken, I think it should probably hit it, but I don't think it goes hitting it too hard. In other words, hard enough for it to push it out. But look, it has been soaking for a while. As I said, it's really nice that this little tit is on it here, because that's usually broke off them. So this is one that's going to go in my own 20 diesel. I said this whole housing. It's still fairly solid, and I do not want to go grabbing that with, you know, pliers or anything like that, because it does have to slide in and out nice and easy. So I'm just going to try. I probably should get the Dremel on the job here, I think, and just give that a little clean around there. So we'll come back with the Dremel ready and we'll just give that a clean up. Got the plastic, it's just a little plastic brush, not wire, and it should just help clean up in there and help get the diesel down into it. As we worked out already, the back was never taken off this, judging by the condition of the screws that were going through it. So yeah, we are dealing here now with you know, a part that has been around, has been untouched for a long time, and it's just probably, you know yourself, so a bit seized. So we'll leave that soak there, and I'll get it into the parts washer again, and we'll make sure to give it the treatment it needs in there for a while, and we'll try and get it moving. But we'll get it out. It's going to take things, you know, very carefully, because it's a very fully complete pump, and I don't want to go damaging anything. It's not a part that you can buy off the shelf. So we're just going to have a go now and taking off the excess fuel button, or the maximum fuel as it's called. The button itself has a spring behind it, and when you press that, the spring in the governor housing here, this spring pushes on the diaphragm, and it pushes your rack back into a more rich fuel setting. And then when the engine starts and your vacuum builds up, it sucks that diaphragm towards the back of the tractor, and it pulls it off that. So the rack is fairly well stuck in this, as we've worked out already. So one way you can get to one end of the rack is by taking this off. So I think it's a 3/4, yeah. So I was going to move the camera back, because my arm will go, I get it to go flying, and ever suffering camera will fall once again. So we'll just give this a bit of a, oh yeah. Okay, so the same thing here. This is going to want a bit more soaking. I probably should have, being honest, done a bit more wire brushing on this first. It has literally sealed itself with crud and dirt, so by wire brushing it there, you do get it to open up a little bit more, and better chance of it getting in. You can take the two screws, flathead screws off here, probably never touched with its original wire still on it for adjusting it, and you could get some oil in that way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap it with the plastic hammer, and at the same time put a bit of pressure on with a spanner, and hopefully it'll go. You can't, it's only a flat there, so it's not as if you can put a socket on. So there we go. Just needed a little crack, but we like to do that carefully. Okay, and you see in there that little pin lines up at the hole in the end of the rack and allows it forward more. That's all that's going on there. Okay, so there's the end of your rack. So it doesn't actually look, it's twisting, right? So what's telling me, what that's telling me, let's get the torch, is that things are a little bit stuck, more so inside in here, I think. So it's nearly on. Now it can go a lot more onto the maximum fuel there. It's all very clean in there. I have to give it, for something that is sitting around a long time, it's spotless, isn't it? It's lovely. I got the two bleed screws out as well. I probably showed that with the impact. All of this is really good nick. This is actually a prime candidate for a rebuild kit, I think, or even to get it moving. And actually, we'll try and see if we can get it turning, because the pump itself might be just perfect. So we'll take out our bleed screws, and we'll have it turning dry. At least we'll take them out. And we'll pump in a bit of WD-40 into it. And that just might go down into the elements. Okay. We will be taking off the back of this, and that's when it gets fun. You see some fairly mad shit down there sometimes. If you're watching the videos on the 1954 Ferguson there during the playlist, you'll see how things looked when we took the back off that pump. So nice and easy. Bring you up a little bit closer so you can see the cans lifting. If they lift, let's rock back and forward a little bit here first. Okay, so one is plunging there. Right, that feels really good. I don't have a feel of the bearings. I can't feel any play, and that's sometimes you say if you lift them up against the spring you'll feel the wear. So that's good. So let's rock it. Right, that's okay. And number 3 there is doing its thing as well, but it looks, no, we're actually going to plunge on 3. It looks okay. Well, this isn't dropping, so that plunger is sticking, so it should be coming back down, whereas there's a gap underneath there with my finger, so that's a bit sticky, that one. There's 3 plunging, 1, 3, 4 on the outside there now, to the right, lifting, plunging, very close to it. Okay, down, 3, 4, number 2 should be next. Up she comes. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 2, and there's 1. So these are stuck because it should always be spring pressure downwards on them. So we definitely have a bit of sticking going on here in the pump. The other 2 are okay. So they're stuck. So that's all right. We can take off the delivery valves here and run a bit of diesel down there. We might even get them working. But yeah, interesting all the same. At least the cam is good. The bearings feel A1, but they're 1 and 2 are stuck. Probably just dry stuck. Okay. So what else can we do there? Probably not a lot. But I will keep oiling it, and I will keep tipping at it. So let's see if I get that. We get the cam moving a little, sorry, the rack moving a little bit. And that's probably just down to so rather than going tapping it anymore, like, I don't really like that. I think the best thing to do here is to try, now my camera probably won't lift up enough, is to try and take off, let's get our focus in there, an injector pipe or 2. And again, I probably am better cleaning them off the top, so, because otherwise the whole pipe will turn. That gets a bit awkward. So what we'll do, I'll just quickly put this roughly back in place, I think, just to stop any dirt going in, since we have such a clean pump. Just give it a quick spin there, just to help keep all that out. And we'll just give this a bit of a clean there. Just want to these pipes are probably no good anyway. Or they could be perfectly usable. Yeah, actually they actually might be usable. They are obviously a bit rusty, but so it's hard to know if that's going to get down there really. It's probably fairly well. We'll chance them. We'll chance them. If things are looking bad, we'll just bail out and we'll okay, so the whole delivery valve's coming. That's no bother, because at least that means we can put the end and that's coming as well. That's just the pipe. Yeah, and just the pipe, and that's turning, so that's good. But we have to take out the delivery valves anyway, I think, and let a bit of diesel down into the especially number 1 and 2. So what's happening here is this is turned, oh, the pipe is turned, that's good. Sometimes they just completely and utterly seize to the pipe and you end up with the pipe breaking then and all that. Well, if you keep tightening, keep loosening. So our delivery valve is turning here, but it's no harm because we want that up anyway, and we can put this in the vise and remove the pipe if we need. So that's okay. Lovely. There's our spring. And now our delivery valve. Wow, maybe I should do a bit of cleaning here. I think it's probably not the best idea to go lifting this stuff out when you have that much dirt around it. So I'll put that back on. I'll put back on the pipes quickly. Yeah, it's not a good idea. No, not a good idea. Not that we're going to ever expect this pump to, you know, work perfect. Still want to make sure that it's, you know, we're not doing damage to, unnecessary damage to get a brand new cloth here. It's the best thing for this. I brought a few tea towels. So let's put this back on and try and stop that, clean that dirt off to hell, because no, I'm not going putting diesel down there, running all that dirt down into the that would not be a good idea. So I'll just quickly slap this back on. It's just so much crud, like you can't have that going back down there. Yeah, and we'll give it a clean up, and a bit better of a clean up I think is what's needed here. Look, we're winning anyway, slowly. This lad's turning. That's not a standard one, I don't think. Anyway, yeah, give him a clean up and we'll come back. Okay, so cleaned up, and anything left there's gooey stuff. It's not going to go, not loose dirt. Okay, so we're spraying into the jar with that. Okay, now we'll see if any of these delivery valves, so we've delivery valves sitting on the top here, right? See if any of them want to move. Sometimes they can be stuck. When we get them up, we can get diesel down into them. This one here looks like it's sealing anyway. Yeah, and that is fairly well a little bit stuck. So let's give them a little twist. These can be a little bit narky, yeah, that's okay. Right, let's get a better pliers on the job and maybe a bit of cloth just to get a grip. This top edge of them isn't that important, as in it's only holding the spring. So it's the bottom edge, it's the bottom of them that's important. It's a little rock. I like little valves. And there we go. One delivery valve. So these are going to be kept in that cap there. I'm going to put diesel on them in a minute. Keep these clean. Don't want them starting to get rusty. A little rock over and back. Hard to get a little grip of them now sometimes. Let's try again with the snouty pliers. Don't know if I'm getting a grip on that or not. Yeah. Little pull up at the same time. You should come up. And there we go. Just a little bit rusty. That's all. But I let them soak in a little cap of diesel. That's what they say to do with them. Again, these lower fittings are like a BSP. Just a little bit different than the bigger than 11/16. So we might try a socket on him, rather than making them a little bit round. need a long reach socket. Get one. Okay. Long reach socket. Always the best option if you can, rather than an open end spanner. Let's see here now how this goes. Yeah, there you go. King of beauty. Okay, so the delivery valve holder, spring, and okay, so let's see if this delivery valve wants to come up. No. So yeah, Mother Nature is she's a powerful thing, boy. Just as well as only a spring on top of this. Now I don't like doing this. She's coming there now. I'm just grabbing it just. No, we're not going anywhere below. So yeah, you can just see the bit of rust in between it. But the actual valve seat itself is in good nick. The last one. Yeah. That diesel's are to loosen up some of that gunge there, so we have to be careful. But anyway, look, cool. This is definitely going to be going to a specialist anyway. And I'm going to keep it on my shelf here for spares, as a spare good pump. So all we're doing really, when you think of it, is just doing the work they be doing. But I want to get a look and see what we are playing with first. And this lad here now does seem to be tight, so we'll get the torch there and see if he's like bugger at all, if he's moving. Oh Jesus, this last one now is grand and happy where he is. Mind you, he's going there now. It's just you cannot get a great grip on them with the pliers. But she's lifting slowly. Wonder how long it's been in there. Since day one. Just coming there though. Just about, but I just don't want to grab it anywhere below on that machine surface. Only on the top. Just and the same thing there. See a little bit of dirt in between there. So that's it. So now now that we have the delivery valves lifted up, we can spray diesel straight down in there, and that should lubricate up. Should fill it right up. That should fill our elements right up and lubricate them. And now when you turn the pump a little bit, get her 3/4 again, there should be a bit of gurgling coming up over there, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what's going on in there now, see is there any improvement. That's the best thing for them now, because those delivery valves could have been sealing the elements. So we obviously want to, and now you can see straight away that number one wasn't coming back down, and now look at him. It was going up and not coming back down. He is now. But number three's gone a bit sticky now. And number four is gone sticky. So yeah, that kind of crack. You eventually get them working though. So I think I was right in, was I right in saying 1 and 2 were sticking and now 3 and 4 sticking? And number 2 is sticky again, so yeah. Yeah, so we have 3 sticky ones now. That doesn't matter. Isn't it great that we have the pump? It sure is great that we have the pump for playing with. So that's where I'm going to leave it tonight. We can try and get the pipe off then. On the very top there, of course, and get all that. But it doesn't really matter, to be honest with you. I'm more concerned about getting the pack off the pump. This lad as well, it's a minor detail. I just want to see if we've got the rack moving a bit more. So we've got this pull to stop lever freeing up nicely there now. You can see the end of it there. So that's good. And our rack is twisting but not really turning. So I reckon that if we give that, get a bit of movement into that, it'll help. It'll help our it'll help these unstick as well. Already we've got one coming back down. We can work a little bit of so that's it sticking on full, and then we polish him up, right? Polish him up nicely and oil him, polish him up with a bit of Scotch-Brite and run him back in, and then we do the same here. We polish him up, oil, polish, diesel, rub, all of that and repeat until eventually that's going to move him forward and back lovely and easy. Already we're getting the lads back down, so that's good. Bit of that over and back, but rather than tapping it too much, this is only a plastic hammer by the way. I want to start getting lubrication in there. I've a bit in alright, but I want to make sure that it's really well lubricated and cleaned up. So that's where we'll leave it tonight. We'll come back even more tomorrow night. We'll get this off and we'll see what's in there. I'd say it's probably nasty. Okay, we'll catch you then. Tommy the Rash. So we're back. So I want to take off this. So this is just spinning on there. It doesn't really look like an original one, to be honest. I'm going to be on it, but there's usually 2 types of these. I have both of them. I've never seen this style before. Well, we'll take them off and have a look. See what he does. Oh yeah, he'll do the trick. He's got his little holes there, and normally you're able to clean them out. That's fairly gunky, really badly gunked up. So interesting. Right, so that's blown out. Looks a bit better, but we can leave that sitting in a little cap of diesel or something like that. Normally you can take the original ones apart. I don't really know how we go about with this. unless that comes out over it, but I'd say I'd end up damaging it. But no, it's blown out lovely, just sitting in a cap of diesel. I have the delivery valves in a cap of diesel as well. Mind you, I'd say this is going to be sent for an overhaul, or I'll try and do it myself. I'll buy the kit and just send it for calibration. And by calibration, what I mean is these lads here, the amount that they turn, the more they turn this way, the more fuel that they will inject. Because when it turns this way, the element, which is like the sleeve around a piston in an engine, it drops. So it ends up that more fuel goes into it. And then the little element is like a piston. So the further that goes down, the more fuel it goes in. So to calibrate them is you loosen them off and you adjust everything so that they're all putting out the same volume, we'll say. So what I want to do is just start cleaning this down at the back. I have the camera up fairly high there at the moment. I'm going to take it down a notch. I want to just have a look into these filters. So these can be rotten. Yeah, so this whole diesel pump is it really needs a good clean. Probably should have did a bit more before I started stripping, but you know what? There's plenty of time for that. And if I do a full strip on this and buy a rebuild kit for it and fit it myself, everything's going to be clean. I wait to do all the big cleaning. I wait to do all the big clean until it's stripped down. So I'm going to get the impact screwdriver, driver, whatever you want to call it, and we'll have a go at them. They do look like they've barely been opened before, which is brilliant. This whole pump looks like it was very much untouched, which is exactly kind of what you want to see. Now let's get the right one here. That fits fairly well, but we might go for the next size up. These are usually in bits. That's good. So I get that. I'm going to get the light lump hammer, and we'll give him a belt of it, and we'll see the diesel open, because remember, in there at least is usually full of diesel, as much as it's probably not anymore. That's it. And that's it. Tog them off. Very good. So let's go and whip them two out. I don't know why they didn't put bolt heads on these, because I'm not going to lie, there was more than once when I had a diesel pump back together and it was leaking. Behind here, the sealing washer was leaking. And of course you just take the whole lot out again. Whereas they had bolt heads on them, you wouldn't have that problem. So there's little circlippy things to stop them coming out completely. So that's all right. So I'm going to get the plastic hammer. That'll do no damage. We'll try and get this off. Now, if you've been following in my playlists the 54 TEF 20 diesel project, you'll have seen what was waiting for me when I opened that up in there. It was like something you would, if you scooped your hand through a crappy, dirty pond and you picked up the gunge at the bottom, that black brown, that's what was in that particular diesel pump in there. So, and that was a tractor that wasn't really sitting up, it was in use. So it's going to be interesting to see what waits for us in here. Now this can be, when I say welded on there, these can be fairly well stubborn now, so I'd say it was off at some stage. There's a little mark there But these are really good condition, but there's a bit of rust in there, so I'd be, yeah, on that one anyway. Wow, that is welded on there. And there's a mark there from tapping as well. So yeah, it's definitely been off before, but someone took very good care not to damage these. But I know the original gaskets are really sticky, like they really do the job. What do you do here? Do you hit these maybe? Try and get a bit of leverage in the... I don't want to go damaging the course. Wow, that is something else. We try cut it off. I hate damaging gaskets, but I think it's probably going to be unavoidable now, because I don't think this is going to go coming off equally, like all sticking to one side. Wow, that is seriously tight. It's hard to even get the knife down in there. Wow, no, that's useless. And there we go. That's it. Okay, what awaits for us in here? Is it going to be good or bad? And it's going to be very good. That is surprising. A bit of stuff down the bottom. Wow. That is surprising. Now, these circlips, okay, they're not too bad. That is very surprising. And most of the gaskets stuck to the other side, mind you. As I said, at this stage of the game, the full rebuild kit will be needed. That's brilliant that that one came off. Some of these actually break because they're so rusty. So, good sign. It's hard to avoid getting water into your fuel system now, in fairness. Condensation and all that does drip down. What you do is you let out the little screw in the bottom of your fuel filter every now and again, and you'll see the water, and then you'll see it turn to diesel and tighten it back up. Then that tends to help. Okay, will this one break? No, that's a good sign. Okay, so we'll get a pick and just pull them out and see what's what. Looking good though. I'm surprised at that now. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Not too bad at all. The smell of it? It smells like old diesel. Not even that bad. Bit of stuff down there. It's kind of oily more so than... Really oily, yeah. Look at that. That's kind of more like oil than anything. Now these are usually a strange size. A deep 13mm usually does them. So we'll try that. We'll try a deep 13 on them. Again, they're like something that's a kind of a BSP or 14, is it? They're like a kind of a, oh, that's actually loose. Ah, good one. Jesus Christ, we're hitting the jackpot here tonight. Okay, it's a good nick. Really oily fuel, that, whatever it was. Beautiful metal, beautiful parts. Never going to see the likes of them again in anything, if you ask me. I did a starter in a van for a neighbour this evening, and pure and utter light part compared to the starter that was in this tractor. You definitely felt you were getting your money's worth back then. But being honest, everything was the quality, had quality back then. Okay, and that's coming out lovely as well. Yeah, that's interesting. It's lovely when the parts come out lovely, and Easy. Look at that. Like, what are we talking? This is 53, I think, this tractor. Or 54. Like, we're talking 71 years old. Look at the quality of the parts. Huh? Like, madness. Pure quality. So a bit of dirt down there, it's no harm. But the diesel goes in holes above, so that wouldn't have been causing any bother. Look at that, even the rubber, like we all know what happens plastic, modern plastic, when it hits petrol and stuff, you know. Even my hedge cutter there had the fuel line on it had to be replaced because the petrol destroyed the plastic. Like, that is spectacular quality now, yeah. Nothing more than a bit of a clean, I suppose, is all it takes. And that's a little screw there. That goes into your rack, and there's a little lead lad there, and you give him a tap of a punch and it just locks him there a little bit. So that was how they locked that. So if you want to take out your rack, you have to take that out. Okay. So that's all been fairly, that's freeing up a little bit there. It's just a pull to stop mechanism. Again, lovely to see it's actually tight. This whole pump seems to be fairly tight, as in not worn. Yeah, that just needs a little bit of over and back. The main rack is still a bit it is still a little bit sticky. Okay, so that's all we can take off there. Filters are good. And that is, yeah, you can definitely see the kind of goldy oil on it, or whatever the hell. Yeah, that's definitely like an original gasket. The aftermarket ones don't have this. They're all throw that gap around them. Amazing. Amazing. Okay, we could go and take off this pipe. It looks like there was copper washers put on that not very, very, very long ago anyway. Unless maybe that's from me cleaning it up, of course, yeah. I thought for a second that, no, that was me cleaning it up. Okay, now this is unfortunately after the little T-pieces broke off that, which is a little bit of a pity. Hard to get them. Okay, nothing else we can say there. Not really, apart from okay, so that was copper washer for the what we can do. You can take off this piece as well, right? 1, 2, and there's a big flathead screw there inside. Definitely was off before, but it's not going to be any addition, because being honest with you, it doesn't really make things any better for getting in there. The next job you would do here is you take off the end. I think the inner race of the bearing is in that cap there. You take off this, you take off your gear. It's on a Woodruff key, so it's going to fit one way. You take out 1, 2, 3, 4 of them little nuts in there, and that cup comes out. I think that's your outer race, your cam bearing is in there, and then you can fiddle the cam out. So you can fiddle the cam out. It's a bit awkward because you have these, so you have to hold up all 4 of them. That's the issue. Now, look, if you were good at making tools, you'd do that. You just got to, now, to be honest, some of them are probably held up anyway, they're probably a bit sticky. We have number 3s stuck up anyway. With the others, they're pushing down on the cam lifters there. and they'll be putting pressure on this, so it'll probably involve a bit of turning and stuff like that to get it right. So we could take the cam out. That's another possibility. I'm just trying to think here as I'm speaking how far I want to go with this before I want to price a rebuild kit. I'd like to do it myself. I've done bits of it before. I had to replace spring. I broke a spring on the one at home, the Ferguson at home, in a home place. I remember doing that. I got another pump of parts, took the spring out and I fitted it. I remember it being fairly bloody awkward, because if you don't hold them springs up, they push down your cam and they wreck your seal in here. So that is the issue. So I don't know, I think what we will do for the fun is we'll just try and loosen at least the nut on the front of the cam there. So we'll just try and give him a loosen and see, like if this was going for rebuild, like, you know, we had all this stuff loosened, wouldn't it be something? It would be a help. I think you're talking roughly about a 3/4 inch there, yeah. And I think what you do is you hold that with a screwdriver of some kind. Obviously taking care not to wreck anything. How did I do it before? A long time ago since I did it. So it's very clever. It's only a one. If the engine ever wants to run backwards because of the shape of that, it pushes the gear out. The gear is on a spring in the timing cover. How did I do it before? Something like that, I think. Yeah, something like that. Okay. And then you'd want a puller for that, I'd say. Probably. You know yourself. Ideally, a little puller would work best on that. But we'll just give him a little push here and see if he wants to come. Probably take a bit of pushing down, alright. That's probably not the best screwdriver, but if we give it a little tap on the side. Yeah, look, this is only just. Only me just dancing my arm really, that's all. No, I think we'll leave that. Oh, it's good breaking it. Came off handy. Well and good. All you're going to see is Woodruff key. That's all you're going to see. That's okay. Better to be playing it safe, isn't it? Yeah. So the likes of that pipe, as I said, it doesn't, excuse me, it doesn't really have to come off. It's not blocked. It's the original one, has the brass bits on it down here. And what I find with them is, because it has the bleeder, if you can get away without touching the bloody thing, just do it. Now, yeah, I was thinking it's a little bit kind of facing out this way, but look, it's the kind of way it is. Yeah, so what else can we say? This is the part that I want to keep for my own 20 diesel. I think it's a really good nick. it's not worn. This isn't worn. It's in good nick, or is it? It's a bit worn, yeah. So I think if I give that a good parts washing, get all that crap out of it, blow it out in air gun and fill it full of the kind of thick grease I have there, the grey grease, that is going to be a nice little, it's looking at a little stamp on it there, Cav. Yeah, that's going to be a nice little addition to my own, just to make it a little bit more, well, improved really. Mine's a little bit worn. Yeah, okay. So let's go, and we may as well do that. Or we can do a bit of work on this. See if we can, see, I don't want to push him in, because the only way of getting him out is, it's hard to, because this is on a spring. So we might do a little bit of work on him. So we put him there, at least we're not hitting any machine surfaces. Plastic hammer. That's the problem, it's only hitting against a bloody spring. I don't want to be weakening that spring. So I don't know, is that coming out at all? It looks like it actually is coming out a bit. You can see the dark there on it. Now I've got a good, bloody good soaking, I can tell you. And a bit of a clean. So let's have a feel there and see. No, it's not really coming out, I don't think. Right, how about we just give it a careful grab with a bit of a cloth. Just careful. We've got some fresh tea towels there that I robbed from inside. The drawer was bursting with them, so have a look. Keep a little eye on this and see if it'll turn. Wow, I tell you one thing, lads, that is fairly well. My God. I will be able to, or I should be able to, give it a bit of a clean up if and when I get it out. Wow. Wow, lads, that is rightly stuck. And the more I look at it there, I can see the ring of crap around it there. But I like this housing because it has that little nib on it there. And that's usually broke off a lot of them, my own one included. And I think it leaves a little hole, I think, if I'm not mistaken, when it breaks off, and that can affect your governor. So because this one has it, I would like, I'd probably try and use this housing. And when I was bringing the engine back from the engine rebuilders in the trailer, it moved and it was rubbing against this housing, and it damaged it slightly. So, you know, that's another reason for trying to use this diaphragm housing over the one I have, as much as it's fairly forgiving material for I'm thinking I might try and use the vice grips on it, because at least that'll get a grip on it. Don't like that word on parts like this, being honest with you. This vice grips is actually used to kind of keep the door closed when it's windy, as a latch will actually open. So that's supposed to show its usual job. I just want to get one grip on it and leave it there, if you get me. Now we're talking. We're just moving there a little bit now. This could be a bit of a, like getting one of them delivery valves out. We could have a little bit more arsing around here to do before with Eco-Dog and Chinese until it comes up, or it could come up handy. Okay, that's hopefully didn't do too much damage to that. I left a little mark there. The beauty of it is at least we're marking this end and not down there, so we can clean that up. Clean it up there now. Make sure there's no burrs on it. And I find these, you're better off giving them a serious cleaning, because you want this to be able to go in very bloody easy. You don't want anything holding it back. So have a feel around, and if there's any burrs on it, now is the time to clean them. And it can be awkward to hold them, so the fact we have it held here, I think, is the best place to do this. At least most of it, because these are usually pitted as well, and I can see a bit of pitting on one side. Okay. Okay, so we'll turn this around because it looks like it's a bit more rusty on this side. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Nice and easy. Don't want to go affecting or damaging that aluminium housing. So this is just where the vice grip's got at the other side, even with the cloth on it, it just left. Well, actually that wasn't the vice grip, it was the first one. Goes to show. Well, this is clean up lovely. It's actually one of the better ones I've seen. It's better than my own one in my own tractor here. Some of them just get too pitted. But the governor's very lazy on mine. You come to a hill and you have to throttle up, and when you go down the hill it revs up and it doesn't govern at all, which is a nuisance like. So having all these parts nice and smooth will help. So we'll just give this another little light grab here to see if we can. There we are. Okay, so it's actually not that bad at all. Not too bad. Initial roll. Yeah, it's one of the actually the best one I've seen. And then we should get our little spring out of there. That's in good nick. I've seen some of them in absolute shit. And this little plunger lad here. Okay. The Ferguson 20Ds I was working on for Christmas there in the playlist, that was a very bad one of these. This is really good. Really good. So this is the bit that goes through, so that has to be fairly smooth as well. You don't want it sticky, and the kind of oil that builds up in them and all of that is not going to help it. So yeah, definitely better than mine. So I'll put up a video of replacing. We'll take off mine, one of my tractors there. We'll put all the parts on the bench here and we'll do a comparison. We'll pick the best ones out and we'll fit them to mine. That is definitely a candidate for use. Let's see if we can get this baby here to clean up a little bit as well. There's a bit of pitting on it, but very, very, very little. Now if I had a polisher, like the bench grinder polishers, this would be what you do with this in the end. You polish the feck out of it and get it smooth, because you want this to slide. It has to. It works on air, like, you know. Mind you, this part here is actually kind of a rod works. Part moved by the throttle. But a little bit of pitting there. That was the bottom, I'd say, where it was sitting, with that facing down, I'd say. So there's that lovely smell of these parts, of mix of old oil and grease and diesel. It reminds me of going to my granddad's house. So it does. All engines and motorbikes and rotavators and an owl shed and all the oils and petrels for them. It's something you never forget. And it's also something we're not going to be smelling anymore. Because when you service your modern car, sure, it's only old watery oil. And sure, In a couple of years there won't even be oil going into engines anymore. There won't be engines and things in cars. So that's lovely, that's cleaning up. It's like a little socket. Say that whatever was put in here, grease wise, I'd say it was 1954, I'd say. But you can really see it's one of the best ones. It's actually the best one I've ever seen. Even the spring is lovely. I've seen some of these springs completely crusty. So that is A1, lads. Can't beat that now. The greaser wipe on that, amazing how well that metal has held up. Really amazing. These are usually fairly middling now at the best. Fairly middling at the best. So that goes in there. Right. So we have stripped this down to the bare case. Everything's off it. Yeah. Just going to clean it up with the drill. And I want to hold it with a cloth, obviously, but I find if the wire brush catches the cloth, it ends up bloody getting caught in it. Oh, I don't want to damage it. So I'll come back when I have that cleaned up. Let's go through our parts. So we have our filter, lads, there. We can clean him up. 4 pipes, some delivery valve holders. Other 2 delivery valve holders are there. Okay, we've that loosened out. We've got our brake fluid in there. Cut the hands off you when you have a few cuts. Okay, we have to clean these up. Right, so therefore holding on the back of that little kind of where the throttle kind of rod attaches. So we give them a little clean up on the threads because of all of that dry kind of alloy that was on them. Have to hold them kind of, yeah, this way maybe, so that we don't go affecting. Careful now what I do with that, because I don't want to go damaging threads. And to hold them very, oh yeah, so there's only threads to there, so if we just grab them in a way that it's not going to affect any of the threads, it should be fine. Give them a twist. That should do it. Yeah, that's good. That count of on. That's one done. Lovely threads on these when you clean them up. Just a little bit more of a touch there. Right, and these thread into here. So we give this a bit of a clean up. Got the Dremel in there with the plastic brush, polished everything up. So they should go in there a lot easier now, considering how hard they are to take out. Yeah, I even got the Dremel down these holes as well with the tiny little brush on it. So look at that, once you clean them up. So what I will do, since we, I won't say we damaged them, but the slots are a little bit wider. Just deepen them a bit. Yeah, lovely. That should do it. So that is good. So this is the part we're going to put on my own tractor. Cleaned up lovely. And the reason why we're fitting it as well is this is not worn, like, so give a bit of a clean out with the parts washer there. So we'll actually go and do it now. So we'll put a bit of grease. So I use the Loctite stuff. It's kind of a thick, real thick, kind of a grey grease like that. It's ideal for that. So I'm just going to give it a blow out with the air gun, and I'll come back and I'll just put a bit of grease on it. Right, ready to go. So putting plenty of this in there as well does help. If it is a little bit worn, it'll stop it sucking air. So you can, what I usually do actually is I put this in around it, right, because it would take a long time to fill it, but it'll probably use an awful lot. Put normal grease then all around it as well. So that's probably okay for that mechanism there. Give it a spin up, get in all around it, and you probably can work it over and back a little bit there. This is really tight, it's really good nick. So yeah, get a dollop of normal grease then, and in she goes. So that is what we'll probably do with that. The badge on these is on the back, which is an awful pity because it'd be nice to have it on the front. That lines up in there. And as I said, that's missing from my own, so that alone is good. And as well, put a bit of, this is an anti-seize as well. So because you have two different metals here, you get that kind of dry, dusty stuff. So this is, it just makes it, it feels lovely when it's threading in as well. So yeah, that's really after coming on now, this part. Really happy with how it has, so that's, I just realised I forgot a part there to go in there. The workbench is just getting too full of tools and stuff. I forgot to put the spring and stuff in there, but it's no big deal. Being honest, I'll probably put on this part on the tractor first when I'm unfitting it, and then I'll put on all of this separately. So I will go and oil all of that actually. Yeah, coming to think of it, that's the better thing to do. One thing I want to make sure is that this barrel lad here has a hole in it there as well. So we've got to make sure that that hole is clear. I just realised there it's a bit grimy, so that's going to get washed out. You have to have the hole there to allow air through, because when that goes in, air has to come out. So what we want to do is get a pick of some kind and work this back and forward a few times. Pick or a screwdriver or something like that that you can test. Make sure that is going in and out of there easy. And that is now compared to what it was. So that's what you want to do. And I just use engine oil on this, I don't use grease. So when it comes to building that up, that's what we'll use. The throttle rod will work on it, so it's just important that it's not sticky, that's all. That's the most important thing. And same with this, that it's clean, it's not. As I said, they're usually pitted as hell. So that's it, and you just lift him up and it'll go on. Okay. So we'll just put it back together roughly there, just to keep the parts together, because that's going to be a separate video. This is definitely worth putting on my tractor. One thing we could compare this with mine. If this is a bit more worn, we can swap it. I might just try and loosen it because it's worn on both sides. So if I was to even spin it, I don't know actually, is it even worth it? It's worn each side. It's narrow and so look, we might just give it a quick go here and see if we can loosen it. Because I might put a better one on. I might just put a better one on, or at least have the option of putting a better one on. So that's a bit loose. So we'll try our 11/32. So I only have an open spanner, which isn't great. I'll have to get a socket on that. Okay, we can do that. I do like having all these freed up, being honest. I like having them freed up so that you can swap on a better one or whatever. Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth trying it anyway. They are the kind of things that, I don't know, with a heat would probably help. It's a, oh yeah, we're moving there. That's good. That's very bloody good, because I have a really good one there if I am stuck. So yeah, we've thankfully got everything off this pump that we wanted to. One other part that I can fit now that I'm looking, I can fit this in here. These summers, I don't think they had a sealing washer on them. Strange enough, from factory. I don't think there'd be any harm. I don't think there'd be any harm fitting a sealing washer to them, to be honest with you. Really don't think there would be. I don't remember one being on it. Strange enough. The treads are probably good enough to hold it. It's one of them strange DSPs, I think. I think I usually fit copper washers on them, but I didn't have one, so we'll see. And that's an easy fix if we had to. So that is the part. That's how it's looking, lads. It's going to make a nice little video. So it is. I did actually make up a gasket for one of these, and then when I sent the pump off for reconditioning, I threw it out. It wasn't on it when I took it off again. For this, I made a lovely gasket. Anyway, so when you push that down, that's all this does. I've seen a few people asking why the hell it's broken because it's flapping around. It only works to adjust the tick over the stop. The rev's going up and down because it'll push this against the rack. And the rack is, say it's going forward and back and forward and back and revving up and down, ticking over. This will come out a little bit and it'll stop it. It's an anti-shudder or hunting or whatever, you're up and down revving. And then when you actually rev the engine, it goes this way, it goes back in out of the way, so it allows the governor to work then. It's meant to anyway. So okay, that's good. I just think this just needs a bit of a clean in there, because considering it has to suck air. So yeah, we'll just give that a quick clean in there with the Dremel and the little wire brush. I'll go and give that a blowout with the air gun. So that'll be an interesting video, fitting that onto my own, taking the other one off, doing a bit of comparison, that kind of thing. So to make me all go in the nacht, I'm going to leave it there for tonight. I'm sure we'll catch you in the next one.